Welcome to Slapshot Podcast, episode number 105. I'm your host, Christopher Morais. Thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging out. As you just trickle on in here, grab yourself a chair, grab yourself a coffee, or any other beverage, start your day. Whatever makes you happy is going to make me happy as well. Listen. There's no good way to put this. It's the first show after Canada lost the gold medal in both men's and women's hockey. It has not been an enjoyable last couple of days if you're Canadian. But listen, depending on when you listen to this, the NHL is back. So listen, we were spoiled for 2 weeks watching some of the best players in the world play together. Now we got to go back to watching the Canucks. My apologies, Canucks fans. It's not the same quality of hockey. Also, this is the time where you cut ties with those players you were rooting for 2 weeks. It's been fun, Tom Wilson. It's been fun, but now I got to go back to hating you. Same thing with, Brad Marchand and Sam Bennett and all the rest of them. Just go back to not liking you until we meet again in the next whether it's at the Olympics or, the World Hockey Championships, right? Doesn't matter where, until we meet again. But listen, we're going to recap a little bit. The Olympics in general, obviously the gold medal game. Also, I haven't done this yet, but I went to, in case you were worried, Timmy's. Look at this. First of all, Roll Up the Rim is back. If you know, you know. We got some hockey cards. We're going to pull this here. I don't usually buy a ton of hockey cards, but, I was hoping to open them after a win, but here we are. So we're going to open some of those a little bit later in the show. We got a new segment as well coming in. It's called Chris Reads Mean TikTok Comments. Yes. Listen, sometimes I put out some banger TikToks, not to pat myself on the back, which of course you watch, right? Slapshot Podcast over on TikTok. But I had one that, hit the algo, and some people had some things to say. So we're going to read the mean ones. Because why not? You know what I mean? Why not? Listen, if you want to find all the Slapshot Podcast content, you can follow it on Instagram as well, Slapshot Podcast with an extra T. You can follow me on X at FuzzyChris91, the podcast as well on X at Slapshot Podcast. You go into the link tree. You can find the podcast and everywhere you enjoy it as an audio form, right? Whether that be Spotify, Apple Podcasts. If you enjoy maybe watching this, maybe you do. I don't know. Maybe you enjoy watching my face. Head over to youtube.com/@SlapshotPod. Hit the sub button, ring the bell. That way you always know when a new episode goes live. Let me take a swig of this to help balance me out here. Yes. So listen, let's go over the Olympics in general was a great tournament. Let's not get it twisted. I know that, again, there's a lot of chatter about hindsight's 2020. Remember that. Hindsight's 2020. And it was unfortunate that Sid gets hurt against Czechia and then he's unable to suit up. And I thought he was going to play in that gold medal game. When the reports were that he was 70% healthy, I was like, man, I can't imagine him saying no, being the competitor that he is. And then Sid reminded us of why he is not just a first ballot Hall of Famer, but just a first ballot overall good guy. Right? He's 38. This is his last Olympics. Going to go out on a limb there and say that. He could have said, hey, I'm 70%. I'm going to play no matter what. And instead, he says, look, I can't play to the level that I think I can, which is elevated, by the way. I don't think many players can play at his level. So he says, I'm not going to play. We need all 13 forwards to win. Somebody else can take that spot. And that is, like, you talk about leadership and you talk about what it takes to represent Canada at the highest level and be the captain of the Olympic team. That's why there was never a question of who was going to captain this team, right? You knew it was Sid. And again, he goes out. There are other players who, even when they are hurt, if you think back to the Four Nations, should Matthew Tkachuk have played if he wasn't able to skate? That's, again, it's a hindsight 2020. But you look at Sid and what he was willing to do, put his country first all the time. Now, the result didn't happen, but again, this is through no lack of Canada trying, okay? Let me say this in case you are confused. Canada was the better team in that gold medal game. They just didn't win. And I know this is hard for some people to understand, right? Because then they're like, well, that means the United States were the better team. No. Those two, there's no causation there, okay? There may be correlation, but it's not. You could be the better team in hockey and not win a game. If you've been watching hockey for as long as I have, and most of you have, you know exactly what it's like when you get goalied, okay? Give Connor Hellebuck every stick tap. He earned it. There were lots of questions about whether he was able. He had a fantastic Olympics, and he himself stepped up in the moment when he needed. Jordan Binnington wasn't bad. It's just Connor Hellebuck was better. And sometimes that happens. Canada's expected goals was like 5. They only scored 1. And listen, again, if things had gone differently, right? If Devon Taves scores on that goal where he's in front of the net and Hellebuck doesn't make that incredible stick save, if McKinnon scores that wide open net, if Celebrini or McDavid bury their breakaway chances, or if Canada scores on that 5-on-3, we're having a whole different conversation today. But that's not how it happens. And again, if you've watched hockey long enough, you know that there's only so many scoring chances you're going to get before you get burned, right? There's only so many. And Canada didn't bury them. Simple as that. Hellebuck did his job, which, by the way, again, we are not going to get into the political side of things because this is a hockey show, not a politics show. But Connor Hellebuck being called the Secretary of Defense is absolutely fantastic, by the way, because that's what he was in that game. He was fantastic. Stick taps to him. Same thing to Jack Hughes, man. What an absolute... Jack Hughes having a pretty good start to 2026, right? I would say so. He's getting a brand new smile. Allegedly dating Tate McRae. That's pretty cool. Scores the overtime golden goal, if you want, for Team USA. Not a bad way to start the year, buddy. Good for him. Even the way Quinn Hughes played as well, so good. My favorite is at the end there of the press when he's sitting there with his goggles and he's pointing at the beer and he's just like, one more. Just absolutely fantastic. And again, I get that the way that the Americans have been celebrating their gold medal may have ticked off some people. Again, not from a political standpoint because we were not there for this, but like, did you think they were going to celebrate graciously? Like, did anybody sit here and went, oh, the United States, some individuals are not going to be obnoxious about it? Come on, man. You know, if Canada wins, you know the celebration is different. You know that. And I'm not saying they shouldn't. Celebrate the way you want. Do what you need to do. Have fun. You earned it, right? We were like, oh, the celebration is excessive. And this is the same conversation people have in like baseball. You know, they celebrate after every round that they win and they're popping champagne. People are like, oh, you haven't won anything. It's like, listen, if that's the way they want to celebrate, do so. But look at McDavid and McKinnon, right? Stone cold until the end. Job's not done, right? As a famous Kobe once said, job's not done. What's there to celebrate about? So again, it would have probably been different, but that's what makes us Canadian. At the end of the day, that's what makes us Canadian. Act like you've been there. So when you do get there, you act accordingly. But again, I'm not going to sit here and be pissed off or sad or be like, celebrating. Listen, just do what you got to do. Have the fun. Canada and the United States are going to meet again in a gold medal at the Olympics. Okay, I don't think that's a stretch. They're going to meet again, and that's where you remember. That's what you remember the last time, right? And it's not like Canada hasn't won on the international stage. This is the first time that the United States has won gold at the Olympics, right, in the men's category with NHL players there, right? First time. So, and again, it took a miracle performance. It did. And again, we can go back and we can criticize the team and, maybe a little bit. I don't want to say lack of depth, because some people are sitting here and they're like, oh, they didn't have enough scoring. They didn't bring enough guys. It's all the same guys. Yeah. All the same elite guys. We saw a coming out party for Macklin Celebrini. Just an absolute stud of a player. Stud. And we saw again, Connor McDavid on the biggest stage in the world be that guy. Led the tournament in points. Shocked to literally nobody, right? But like I said, this time the United States, they get the last laugh. But that's okay, because we're going to have to laugh again. And again, it stings now, right? You're going home with a medal. It's silver. It's not what you wanted to win. But use that as the fuel to say, next time I'm here, I'm taking it. Right? That is how hockey is played, right? Remember it, come back. That's how you become better. You remember the pain and you say, okay, I don't want to feel this again. Next time it's going to be a little bit more. Again, we can criticize the game all we want. A lot of people blaming Cale Makar for his pinch. Cale Makar wins that pinch. He gives it to McDavid. It's 2-0 the other way. We have a different conversation. A lot of people criticizing the back checking and stuff. Buddy, here's how I know some of you have never played puck in your life. Okay? Because you think that you could play a perfect, all gas, no breaks 60 minutes of hockey. Like, that doesn't exist. That is not the beginning of the shift. Right? McDavid, Makar, and McKinnon had already played a ton of minutes. Right? They go into overtime. Hockey is a game of mistakes. The team that makes the least amount of mistakes usually wins. And, Werenski wins his one-on-one battle against Makar, puts it in a good, against McKinnon, puts it in good space. Jack Hughes did what he needed to do. Is McDavid maybe cheating a little bit, hoping that, McKinnon wins that battle and sends it up so they can go 2-on-1 the other way? Yeah, probably. Didn't work out. But again, if I'm gonna trust my superstars, I'm gonna trust them all the way. Right? But some of you think you could go out there all gas for 60 minutes. That's just like, you can try to give 100% every shift, but that's not how this works. You go out there and you give your best, but you're going to run out of gas. And as you get tired, the human body means that the more fatigue you have, the more susceptible you are to making mistakes. And it's fractions of seconds, right? Yes, if Makar puts his head down and sprints back, he probably catches Hughes. I think he's out of gas, and he's trying. He didn't get there. So again, some of you have never played puck. I get it. But you can't, that's not how hockey games work, right? Hockey is about momentum swings back and forth. The United States kept up with Canada. Then the second period showed up, and Canada was like, hey, this is our period. Are we going to look at the United States and went, oh, well, they played a great 60 minutes of hockey? No, they didn't. They weathered the storm. They survived the push. And they come back the other way. So, again, congratulations to the United States, all their fans. You've earned this one-ish. You should probably buy Connor Hellebuck a Christmas present, because that was a gift that he provided you. And it stings. I did the show Total Hockey Now right after with Adam, and the goal went in, sat there for 2 minutes, closed the TV, made coffee. It's all right. Let's feel it. Let's feel it. So let's just, again, this isn't a political show. This is a hockey show. So Don't let it get all your panties in a twist. Let them celebrate. Let them have their fun. But as it says, listen, some of you don't know this, but on Quebec's license plate, it says in French, it says Je me souviens, which translates to I remember. Okay? So remember this moment. Canada will be back in it. This isn't the last. This isn't the last dance. We'll meet again. And it'll be, hopefully, a different ending. All right. So now, speaking of different endings, again, we're going to debut a brand new segment here called Chris Reads Mean TikTok Comments. Because nothing is better than going into the comment section and reading the absolute verbal vomit that comes out of people's mouth. It's the best. You can do it on the YouTube comments just as good. I don't suggest you ever read Twitter comments though, because that will break you most likely. But yeah, I had one of my good. Listen, had a TikTok go off. Sometimes it happens, man. And it was about Nick Suzuki. Right? That goal that he scored, that nice tip, helps Canada advance. Well, it keeps them alive. And, a lot of people have been talking about Nick Suzuki and maybe benching him. And I was like, man, imagine being delusional. Imagine being delusional. Right? It's not how this goes. But, people have their opinions. That's okay. That's okay. You're allowed to have your opinion. Just remember, sometimes your opinion is wrong. And I will remind you of it, which is exactly what I did. So, I pulled some comments. And then we're going to discuss why they are terrible. Okay? I want to put some of these people on blast. And it's nothing personal, man. It's just you had a terrible hockey take, and now I'm going to expose you to the world. That's it. Don't worry about it. Let's get right into this one, all right? This is from Dave G. He goes, agreed. Played 3 periods as a ghost. Game before that, ghost. First game, didn't even know it hit his stick. Okay. I don't think he was a ghost. I don't think so. The underlying metrics for Nick Suzuki heading into that game, right? Not the gold medal one. Again, this is the one where, he plays hero where Sid goes down against Czechia. I don't think he's not there to score goals. That's not what Nick Suzuki was brought in to do. He can, and he can facilitate the puck. He was there to be a good two-way forward, to be responsible in his own zone and contribute some offense. And when Crosby went down, he was able to step into the center role. He played much better after that because it was his natural position. But again, when needed, he could step up and take over. Okay? First game, didn't even know it hit his stick. As if it matters. Buddy, they don't ask you how, Dave. They ask you how many. He didn't know it hit his stick because I've never been hit by a puck before and goes into the net. What a terrible take this was. Absolute terrible. So, clearly Dave wasn't watching the same game that I was. All right? This is a poor take. Now, listen, it's not all bad. I found one good one, okay? This is from Noah. Gotta admit I was wrong. Listen, Noah, I'm not putting you on blast. This should have been what a lot of people, there were some comments in there that went just, yeah, I was wrong. Listen, one goal, one opportunity can change the course of an entire tournament. He got his moment. Here we are. So, good for Noah for being like, hey, man, I was going to say something mean. Probably did. It is comfort of his own, home. And then came out on the main stage and said, gotta admit, man, I was wrong. That's a man, I'm sure Noah's a great guy, probably pays all his taxes on time and everything, willing to help the elderly cross the street. But, he's also able to admit what he's done wrong. So, good for you, Noah. Thank you for admitting it to the world. All right, next. This one was, this was one of the earlier ones. This was a first. It was just not good. Levac TBK. If you speak French, you know exactly what the last part means. Glad him and Marner decided to have one good shift today. Listen, I was already I was waiting there. I included my response because, you know, I there were a lot of people that were with me right there. If you think both players had one good shift today, you weren't watching the same game everyone else was. Like Marner had a very good tournament. I don't think that's a stretch. His ability to make plays and, you know, facilitate the puck clearly helped. But again, listen, Levac went through it. He was in the comment section a lot, responding to others who were also telling him that he had a terrible take. This was a community effort. I took the first one because this could have been a whole section. This whole show could have been about him, but I didn't want to put him on blast forever. Right? Because listen, some people have terrible takes. His was one of them. One good shift. Like, again, did watch the game. Could not have watched it. Another profile as well with no picture. So, again, not a very good take here, Levac. Not good. Not very good. I thought Marner and Suzuki played well. And then when Stone joined them, it wasn't bad. That's a very responsible line. Very responsible. They can create offense. Like, listen, Mark Stone is not a speedster. But he had a, breakaway shorthanded goal in the tournament, and he looked, it's guys who are smart, right? Nick Suzuki is a smart player. And sometimes what you lack in speed, right? Let's not get it twisted. Nick Suzuki's not he doesn't have rockets tied to his skates. Smart guys always get it done because they're one step ahead of you. And I thought that was a great line. After Crosby went down, moving Suzuki into the middle, letting him play with, Marner and Stone. I didn't think it meshed well between McKinnon and Suzuki and Hagel. McKinnon is so fast, right? And at the same time, Nick also wants to possess the puck a little bit, like carry it in. And I mean, we know McKinnon is elite at that. So it's, again, if you thought he had one good shift after that game, I can't help you, buddy. Can't help you. So, absolutely terrible take here from Levac. Let's see what other terrible takes we have here. This is from Truth Spitter 2025. The irony of that, right? One lucky tip and completely invisible the rest of time. I don't think that was it. Because if we're going about lucky tips, first of all, I took the timestamp. That was 14 hours ago from when this goes live, basically. So that means, like, True Spitter, here's the thing, though. Is the first tip that he got lucky, or was it the second goal that he scored? Like, was one of those skill? I think both. I don't think tips are about luck. I think it's an art. Tipping pucks, I think it's an art. I don't think he was invisible the rest of the time. Again, it's ironic that Snoopy here, with the name Truth Spitter, has spit absolutely no truth. The irony is not lost there on me. It's definitely comical, I would say. Clearly he's been spitting truth only, recently. And he's not very good at it. So, again, he was not invisible the rest of the tournament. Maybe True Spitter didn't watch the same games I did. I don't know. That's an absolutely terrible take. So we're not going to roast him too much. This last one is my favorite. I'm gonna need you to sit down for this one because this one's got some reading. This man. Oh, sorry. No, wait. It'll be the other one after that. Hold on. Wea Booby. I know that's the name. Man's got a lucky tip, and now he's suddenly God. That part cut it. No, he still sucked for the first 3 games. One lucky goal doesn't magically make that go away. Okay. Well, listen. One goal turning you into God is definitely like that's the thing about hockey. You as quickly as you can be called every name in the book, right? When you mess up, you're always one shot away from turning that narrative around, right? And Nick Suzuki's goal was key. I would say it was a big play. I don't think he sucked for the first 3 games. I think he wasn't up to par, right? Which is fair. I don't think he was being utilized in the right spot. I think John Cooper adjusted that well and said, "Hey, let's find the spot where he needs to operate." I didn't think that McKinnon and Hagel were elite until that line was kind of broken up, right? And I think that's fair. Some guys don't mesh together. They don't play as well. The styles in which they play are different, and sometimes it just doesn't work, right? I think it does. I think one magical goal one goal can make everything else go away. It can. If one error can do that, right? If we're using that logic, if you're willing to say one mistake can make all the good go away, then the other side has to be true as well. We got to be consistent. So Wea Booby, you're just wrong, buddy. Terrible name, terrible take. I think that's Barney, like the purple dinosaur. But again, just an absolute terrible take here. Here's the one I was referencing before. Sit down. This one's long. Look at this. The name here, right off the rip, it's going to be bad. This is from. First of all, the profile picture is just an R, and his name is Seymour Ass Cracks. Okay, that's a play on words. This one's not even about. Here's the thing, though. This isn't even about Suzuki. Okay, this is about McDavid. I don't know how he felt like this guy looked at it. This, I'm guessing, is after the gold medal. I don't have the timestamp there, but I think that's it. So I think he posted this after the gold medal game on the Nick Suzuki video, right? TikTok. So this guy woke up and decided he was going to write a whole paragraph here. Mr. Overrated. He spelled overrated wrong, by the way. McDavid should be benched. He's coming out swinging here. Canada made the worst possible choice, making that POS captain. So again, it's like 2 sentences in, we're not doing well. Canada didn't make him captain. Sidney Crosby is captain. Now, per IIHF rules, you have to have a captain in every game that you play. So if your captain gets hurt, an assistant captain has to be named, right? And McDavid said it best, right? It's just keeping the sea warm for Sid. Right? So, anyways, let's continue. He can't lead pigs to mud. Well, he has 0 leadership skills, 0 heart, 0 IQ. Okay. He plays for himself and media attention. I've never looked at McDavid and said, wow, he really wants to talk to the media. He looks like he doesn't want to talk to them ever. He has a ton of heart as well. Let's not get it twisted. Anyways, all individual awards, no team effort. I mean, he wins individual awards, yes, but he can't win team efforts. He is an individual. I guess he's referring to the Stanley Cup, which, again, is a team thing, and it's not all on him. He did win at Four Nations. But anyways, he is the most overrated player in NHL history and the worst captain in NHL history. Like, think about that sentence. Most overrated player in NHL history. The most, not second. And the worst captain. Okay. He gets players and coaches removed from team when he is the cancer in Edmonton. I just don't like, does anybody, up till now, does anybody believe a word that Seymour Asscracks has said? No. He let down a nation for the third time in a row. Did this man skip over Four Nations? Like, did he just say, no, I didn't watch that? Like, it's that assumption is saying that everyone was cheering for Edmonton to win the Stanley Cup. Right? So I don't think he let a whole nation down by coming up, listen, falling in game 7 to the Panthers after being down 3-0. Like, again. Anyways, he let down for the third time in a row and let down the actual greats of Team Canada. Who are the actual greats, by the way? Like, I'm assuming it's, Gretzky and all these other guys that have been part of it. But this whole interaction was just the best in the worst way possible. From the name all the way down, he didn't say a single thing that was factually correct in this. This whole thing, after fact checking, is wrong. Maybe the part where he says he can't lead pigs to mud, because I don't see McDavid as a guy working on the farm, doing that. I don't. But this, again, I don't know. This man just woke up and said, I found this video about Nick Suzuki and about, I guess he tied it into the being bench part and said, nope, it's got to be McDavid. That's the guy we're benching. Seymour Asscracks from wherever. He knows. He knows. Oh, man. Listen. That was comedy. I could not, when I read this, I was like, I didn't think this was real, but here we are, fam. Here we are. So yeah, those are some mean TikTok comments. Chris reads mean TikTok comments. Maybe one day we'll bring it back. Kind of remind people what was there. But yeah, these were all terrible takes. All right. But listen, let's finish on some fun here. We're gonna open some hockey cards before we call it a day here. Let me grab it here. So how many cards do you get here? 3 cards per pack. Listen, it wasn't bad. It was $1 a pack. So every time I went to Timmy's to get a coffee, I was like, hey man, can you throw in some cards? All right, let's take a look at some of what we got here. We got look at that Noah Dobson for Team Canada here. Look at this, a Logan Stankoven gold medalist. That's nice. And look at that, Sean Couturier one. Very nice. Very nice. Those are 3 good ones. I guess the one I want to get is find a golden prize card for a chance to win a prize. Okay, well, maybe we'll get like a Sid one. I'm hoping. I wouldn't mind one. Maybe I don't know. Maybe some goalie one here. Man, this one is. Oh, look at this one. This one is old here. Mitch. Look at this one. Mitch Marner. Back in the day. How me? Oh yes, this one is fantastic. Look at this one. Sorry, let me put it on this side here. A Brett Burns one, gold medalist. Oh, that's fantastic. This one seems apropos, of course. Jordan Binnington. Yeah, that's a good one. Again, don't hate on Jordan Binnington's back-to-back tournaments now where he's been the best goalie for Canada. He did his part. He's not the problem. Let's see what else we grab out of this pack here. Oh yeah, this is a good one. This is a good one. A little Mark Messier. Shout out to Mark. Yeah. Oh, this one's nice. This one's good. Look at this. A little great one. The Wayne Gretzky. You gotta like that one. And look at it. Brandon Montour. Pretty good one. It's pretty fantastic. I can understand why people like opening cards. I just don't care for a ton of hockey cards. I have a couple here. I used to collect them when I was kids. And again, the Tim Hortons ones feels like you have no choice. You know what I mean? Feels like you're not Canadian unless you got them. What else here? Hey, listen. Colton Parenko. That's a pretty good one here. This one is what is this one? Celebrated Prodigies. Celebrated Prodigies. Maybe this dude will be on the Team Canada next time around. Adam Fantilli. It's not terrible. Oh, close it out on an absolute banger here. Brendan Shanahan. Look at that. It's fantastic. There you go. Got a bunch of good hockey cards. Maybe I'll put them in a. I don't know if any of those are worth anything. Probably not, but it was nice to buy some hockey cards and live the best life. All right, fam. Well, listen. Hey, couple of things. One, thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for being here, watching the podcast, listening to wherever. If you have not already, wherever you get your podcast, drop a like, drop a follow, drop a sub, whatever it is on YouTube. Especially hit the sub button, ring the bell. Leave a comment as well. Tell me why you love Nick Suzuki specifically. All right. Again, the NHL is back, baby. We're back. So shows will return next week. We're going to have a great time. We're going to have fun. The NHL trade deadline is coming up soon as well. So we got to start preparing for that. A lot of great stuff coming up here, but thank you all for hanging out with me today. I appreciate the love, man. Again, congratulations, Team USA. Don't forget to like, subscribe, everything. We'll see each other again soon, all right?